Greetings, everybody. Welcome to the Why Ukraine YouTube live stream. As you can see, we have some interesting things happening today. So I want to make sure. Yeah, I want to see how's everybody doing with the sound. Can you guys let me know if our sound is going okay right now? If we're getting any echo or weird buzzing sounds, I'd appreciate it.
It's about a half second delay on my part.
Interesting. Weird.
It's like digital echo in a studio.
Yeah, that's it's one of those weird. I'm sure Dr. Dawson were here. He would. There you are, and we sound a bit bip bip bip. Interesting. Okay. Okay. Everybody's. It's all right. Echo. All right. You know what, guys? I'm going to restart my system, which may cause me to... It may cause some interesting problems. We shall see. But I'm going to restart my system. I'm not going to end the stream. You, Shirkan, stay in the... Yeah, like crickets. Yeah, that is annoying, though. Yeah, Shirkan, you stay in, and
good.
I will be right back.
You're going to leave me in here with these people.
Yeah, I know. It's scary, isn't it?
Wait.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to... There we go. Save. Good enough. All right.
This is me, Dan.
Okay. All right. I will be right back, everybody. Hopefully. We'll see.
We'll see. Oh my God, now I'm huge. Okay, now is the echo gone? This is the question. Okay, good. That's a good thing it's not on my side. Anyway, hey, guess what? I'll entertain you guys with some stuff real quick. So my next trip to Ukraine is coming up. I just want to show you some of the stuff that I'm bringing real quick. These are sets of splints. These are bags of burn gel. So there's about 3 of these big bags going. These are bags of chest seals. I've got about 300 of these guys going.
There we go.
Hey man, sorry you busted me.
All right. Well, it was my problem then. Fantastic. Normalna, right?
Yeah, normal.
Normalna.
Bez problem.
Yeah. So, Shirkan, tell us what have you been doing lately? And I hear you might be coming back to Ukraine. What's your plan there?
Well, I was just going over that while you were off camera.
Mm-hmm.
I plan to leave in a few days, actually. Well, I got over a week, but I plan to me, that's a few days. Getting a little nervous, but I was just showing some of the supplies that I was taking over.
Wow.
Just examples of some of the stuff that's real popular over there, litters and chest seals and burn gels. These are cool too. Whoops, as I F it up. But these are surgical kits with all the different tools you need for surgery. Mm-hmm. So I've got a bunch of those going over. Those are real popular. And then I've got smaller versions of those and medium-sized versions of those and all kinds of stuff. But
wow.
But this should be a pretty mellow trip. I mean, in the past, I've done stuff like outfit operating rooms and things like that with equipment they need. But this one is just 3 bags of this stuff and kind of hanging out. So, which leads me to my next question, which is maybe we could do a live stream in person.
Dude, that would be rocking.
Yeah, that would be cool.
That's a fantastic idea.
Because I don't, like I said, I don't think I have anything else planned except being at their mercy. The people that I kind of deal with. But other than that, that's what I've been doing, training really hard to get over there, and not have any physical problems while I'm there. That's a big concern of mine.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But, now you have some. Wait, I've forgotten what your health issues are. I mean, I know what mine are. Are you? I don't know if you're comfortable talking about them, but
not really. But basically, I'm kind of tethered to America because of a big frozen injectable medication.
Oh, I remember that now. Wow.
Yeah. So I have to kind of like puncture myself, run over to Ukraine, do as much as I need to do, come back and to be able to hit myself again. It's pretty annoying, but
that is,
that's kind of why I don't have a job is, well, one of the many reasons. The other reason is I don't really need to have a job, which is kind of nice. I'm very blessed. But I worked very hard, in those days
to get there.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, and I live quite frugally. I live very much like a Ukrainian. It's funny. The same kind of frugalness that I see over there is like, that's very familiar to me. But that's simply in order so I can, buy all this great stuff and get over there. Plane tickets are extreme. You know how it goes.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
I mean, if you get them at the right time and, about 6 weeks in advance seems to be the sweet spot. And if you're willing to squeeze onto like Spirit Airlines or Wizz Air or whatever it is.
Wizz Air, that they say that's like the Spirit Airlines of Europe.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's pretty basically bad. Or Buzz Air was another one I was told to stay away from.
Yeah, it brings a whole new meaning to I'm going to take a whiz.
It probably smells like that as well. That's not good.
Yeah,
you got to get the seats away from the lavatories for sure.
Exactly. Yeah.
Other than that, I'm kind of enjoying the summer and just listening to your live streams, trying to get news where I can on the internet, which is ridiculous. But looking forward to what you've got in store today.
Yeah, cool. Well, one thing I like right now is that we are going to have a raffle today,
and I'm going to win.
Yeah, so that's kind of cool, and that's kind of awesome. But there we go. That's our raffle screen for when we're ready to do that today, and. Really though, one of the things I really want to get into and talk about today is the changes, both good and bad, that maybe are coming to the Ukrainian military.
Okay.
Just things that I'm hearing, things that I'm being told. This is a very interesting article on this Ukrainian news website, Zaborona. What's interesting about it? So Starsky is the new general.
Yeah, he took over.
Took over from Zaluzhny. Yeah. And there was a lot of course, everybody loved Zaluzhny, but my personal opinion was that he needed to go. I don't know. Others disagree. I thought he was good, but he kind of ran out of ideas. But one thing I will say that I heard even before the changeover was if Starsky is the guy, it's going to be awful. In other words, I think what I have been hearing here is that basically he got the job because nobody else wanted it. Because it's just, your head is on the chopping block, figuratively speaking. I mean, luckily, Ukraine is not Russia. You're not going to get pushed out a window or arrested for made-up crimes. But so this article is very interesting here, talking about a particular member of parliament from the Servant of the People Party. Now, that is the president's party, and her name is Mariana Bezula. So I didn't know about this until I read this article a couple days ago. She was actively criticizing Valery Zaluzhny on her social media pages, and basically kind of stirring up trouble. So she's targeting, or now here's the thing. I don't like to say targeting, because just like in our political system in the U.S., oversight is the job of our congressional representatives.
Truly.
Oversight of the armed forces. Yes. Philippe Olvard said, Bezula. Now, I don't know her from Adam. I just read about it, and so she has a lot of, now maybe politics in is very young, let's say, not fully mature, and so people I've noticed, tend to be pretty vindictive, and go to extremes a little bit, and
Sounds
so
a lot
this
like the United States.
it sounds like what?
A lot like the United States.
Yeah, in many ways. But it's also much more complex, because there's not just two parties, and parties pop up like mushrooms after a rain, and then they go away just as quickly here. And I'm still starting to comprehend it, but basically, a lot of parties will rally around one person or around one particular issue. Often as not, they're funded by a particular oligarch who has an agenda that he wants to achieve. And so politics, if you talk to Ukrainians here, politics is looked on as a way to get rich, essentially. Kind of like America. What's the difference? Is it Father's Day today? Oh, I did not know. KKHGG just said it's Father's Day.
Yeah, happy Father's Day, everyone.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
I'm getting it, but that's all right.
So, yeah, Anna, Shere Khan has a little bit of an echo. Sorry about that. Let me see if that's actually on my end.
It happened when we went into the screen.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Okay. I have a thing on my computer where when I plug in my headphones, even though I have my headphones plugged in, my computer speakers still play at like a really low level. I don't know why. It happened with a Windows update, and I've never been able to get rid of it. And I've been trying.
I do not have an audio monitor. I just have my regular computer speakers, and they're turned way down.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, I want to, I think it's important not to have blinders on about this. So here's the message from this member of parliament here. Just returned from the front. The new head of the front, General Sodal, is a criminal. She doesn't mince words, okay? Starsky allowed him to put his own people in charge. Galushkin, Sokolov, Lutsenko, whoever those are, not for their skills, but for their affiliation with Sodal's faction. Galushkin failed the defense of the Kharkiv region. So Galushkin is the the guy for the general for the Kharkiv region. I got him replaced. Now Drapati is there. After that, Sodal tried to block me along the entire front. So this is a member of parliament who literally travels around along the front lines, checking on what the conditions are. And
That's pretty cool.
yeah, actually, it kind of is, you know. So she says, Sokolov has a criminal proceeding regarding Chongar, passage to Crimea, and is now in charge of a section of the front line. Lutsenko missed Ocheretny's breakthrough to Pokrovsk. If you guys don't know what she's talking about there, we can go here to Deep State, and Pokrovsk is here. And this is Ocheretny. And this is where the really bad breakthrough happened. So this is after Avdiivka. Avdiivka is down here. And apparently there was a unit or a battalion that was blocking the Russian advance in this area. And there was a mistake. This was like, what, a month ago? 2 months ago? And there was some sort of a mistake, lack of communication between different battalions. So one unit left, and the other unit was supposed to replace them. Another battalion was supposed to replace them, and they didn't. And it just let the Russians rush in. And this is a very serious situation because this Pokrovsk highway here between Konstantinivka and Pokrovsk is the main supply route to Chasiv Yar. And so it was a real fuck up basically, and Ukrainians were angry. So Lutsenko missed Ocheretny's breakthrough to Pokrovsk and has not been punished. Not a single general has been punished under Zaluzhny or Starsky. They pop up again and again. Nothing has changed. General factions continue to destroy our future, and Starsky is part of the process. He cannot go beyond that. I see attempts, but I ask and urge the brigades to hold on now. You know how to fight. We'll overcome this. Both the internal army rot and the Russians. History is being forged now. Hold on. I will not be silent. Only facts. And then she says, Alexander Stanislavovich, this is your last call. Don't even know who that is, but that's fiery, man.
Yeah.
That's fiery. And I mean, speaking to first-hand or second-hand accounts from soldiers here, like, you know, of course, I'm only going to hear the bad stuff, I'm sure, but like my neighbor 2 doors down, my neighbor, actually, not 2 doors down, my neighbor, just got sent back to the front. I think he broke his arm or injured his arm. It was not completely healed, and they demanded him back, you know. And he's got some PTSD for sure, you know.
I can imagine.
Yeah. And just, well, understand that you know, people get drafted and they're not prepared for, you know, they don't have a military mindset. They're not prepared for the culture of the military. They're not prepared to get yelled at, you know?
Yeah.
And I mean, this guy was a poet. He's a published poet, you know. Maybe not your number one.
It's just desperate times, man.
Yeah. And then well, God, my wife came to me yesterday, literally crying in tears, because the husband of her friend and former coworker in Kyiv, who I've met, died, and basically it wasn't reported to the wife for quite a long time, until finally one of the last surviving members of his unit, and we're talking 84 guys who were in this particular. It's like a half battalion, almost. One of the last surviving members, basically 81 out of 84 were killed. And and due to one basically one commander, the battalion or the platoon commander, who just kept sending guys in to one after the other, just go, and
that's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's awful. It's awful. And
how much training do commanders have?
That's the question. And a big part of the point that this congressperson, member of parliament, is making, is about the problems with the here she says Starsky, who hides the truth, breaks down units, uses manual controls. That means not giving, in the NATO way or the Western way, units on the ground. You have sergeants or NCOs who plan missions and have a lot of freedom. And in the Russian way of doing things, it's not like that. And Starsky, comes. All these generals basically were trained under that Soviet mindset. So she says, uses manual control, Russian cruelty, and dismissal of all competitors and creatives in the army. The change of brigadiers and combatants is so fast that they do not have time to get acquainted with the units, and they are already guilty. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what that means. It's an interesting. This article talks about how this little paragraph here. However, there's a high probability that these attacks were then, that we're talking about, from the MP, okay, from the member of parliament, this woman, were then approved by the president's office. So this is going back to her criticism of Zaluzhny. So it's very interesting that the theory of this article that people are saying is that it says another possible option is that she is simply out of control, but the fact that the faction's leadership is still silent about her behavior. So in other words, the president's party is still silent about her behavior suggests that the first scenario is in effect, that she's basically working for the president in this way. They say, let her attack now, and if something goes wrong with Starsky, they will be able to point to everything Bezula wrote on her page as a reason for dismissal. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, Luke, it sounds like she has no idea what she's doing. I mean, that's possible too. Like I said, Ukrainian politics can be pretty vindictive and a little bit extremist, in the sense that people, and especially during this war, people are get very emotional. A lot of non-military Ukrainians, the ones that I talk to, who don't have a family or relative in the fight, most do, but the ones who are a little bit disconnected in some way, they just kind of hope that everything's going well, and they don't follow the day-to-day map updates necessarily the way that you guys might even. Hey, Viper, thanks for coming, man. Good to see you. By the way, I haven't even said hello to all you guys. Hello, everybody. Anna, KK's GG, Herb,
Lots of
And
people.
I apologize for our sound issues at the beginning.
Well, it's still happening.
It's still happening.
Yeah.
Shazbot is what I say.
And like I said, it might just be the screen when I'm just kind of staying quiet.
Yeah. Let's try this. Let me put you on mute
Okay.
for a second. And okay. And did you get a commercial, KKSGG? I hate when that happens. Give me a second. Let me see if I can fix that. I said yesterday I was going to check on it and see if I could fix it. And I think there is a way. Aha. There we go. Woohoo! Problem solved. Wait a minute. Sure. Okay. So can you guys tell me, are you guys hearing an echo now? So I've got Shircon on mute. So let me know if you guys hear an echo, and that'll tell me what's going on. Let's see, Luke. I find people like her are the biggest problem going around dividing people, pointing fingers instead of finding solutions to problems. I agree with you. Okay. I believe that there are problems in the Ukrainian military, but I'm the type who, my feeling about it is, don't complain unless you, okay, so there's no echo now. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll unmute you when, I'll just have to mute you and unmute you, Shircon. Okay. And let me know if the echo comes back. I've got him unmuted right now. So
I'm sure it's back.
Yeah, KK's GG, it's me going in and screwing with stuff and setting the defaults. I think I set some defaults on my streams. Normally my streams are not monetized to begin with because they're blocked from monetization. So I hadn't had to deal with it until just recently. I completely forgot about it. So apparently YouTube decided to monetize my streams out of the gate. So anyway, okay. So sorry about that. Okay, maybe that fixed the problem. Oh, fantastic. He didn't echo just then. Wonderful.
I did not echo. That's good.
Yay. So yeah, going back to Luke made I think a good point. That I complain a lot, but when I complain, I try to offer solutions.
Of course.
So I think that's the Ukrainians don't understand that. Okay, let's just say that I don't necessarily hear a lot of complaints from Ukrainians, but that's mainly because I don't speak Ukrainian. I mean, not well enough. But when Ukrainians tell me, one of the things they always say is Ukrainians are always complaining. They would at the idiom that I teach them is, I'd complain if you hung me with a new rope.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Hey, let's break out of the screen if possible. See if the echo goes away.
Okay. Let's do this. See if that changes things.
Any better?
It's back. Now it's back.
Well, it was back before. That's why I said break out of that screen.
Okay. Let me see if I can unstop screen sharing and see if that makes a difference.
Let's see if that makes a difference. That makes a difference.
So it's my screen.
Interesting.
Fantastic. Does my screen make sound? Okay, I'm going to fix this problem.
Okay. Because I don't hear the echo now for some reason.
Okay. Can you guys hear me now?
It's gone. Okay. Plus.
All right. There we go. Thank you guys for your help.
So when you break the screen to do the raffles and stuff, I'll just not talk.
It could also be that's okay. That's a good idea. It could also be an issue of I have some sound software,
Okay.
basically. And sometimes it just acts really weird. It does these things. So all right. Yes, no echo yet. Might be overloading the CPU. Yeah, that's entirely possible. That is entirely possible on my somewhat ancient laptop. So, but I do have a picture to show, so I am going to share this screen, and then we'll see if it goes away. Cool. So this is a picture, and because I don't want to just have a big negative session, about. I mean, every military needs work and needs improvement, and I am still planning on joining the Ukrainian military, and one way or the other, God damn it.
Herb said I left my amps on in the background. That's why it was echoing. It's funny.
So I just want to point out, and I think I have shown this picture maybe before. I think I shared it on my community tab. But the guy who's standing there holding the piece of paper, okay, I met him literally a year ago. I think like a year ago today. I mean, at least a year ago this week. Okay. I was in the barracks, and I'd already been there. I was there for like about 3 weeks, and then I had this injury that wasn't going away, and so I left for a couple of weeks, and then came back and was training. So anyway, he showed up to the barracks, and I love the guy, but he was a mess.
Is that right? How so?
Well, the first time we did PT, just doing a one lap around the yard. I'm talking like a quarter mile. Okay.
Okay.
He almost died.
Jeez.
He almost died. And Viper, thank you. That's good to know. That's good to know. It's getting through the BCT that I have to deal with, because right now, like I could run a mile. I could run probably, at least 5 kilometers, let's say. Okay, let's not call it running. Let's call it jogging. Okay, but with a rough, no way. Just today, I rode my bike in town, picked up some groceries with my backpack, and was feeling the pain in my back just from, like 10 kilos maybe max.
Yeah, plus it's not the greatest backpacks they're issuing to people in Ukraine. I mean, they don't have frames, things like that,
Yeah. Yeah, they don't. I have one of them. I have 2 of them actually. But so that he it was a rough couple of weeks, and before he joined, and his unit, there was a bunch of guys that joined, and they came to the barracks, and they were all, I would say half of them, they couldn't run a half a mile and or do any of the PT. And so what was nice for me though is because before they came, I was the slowest guy, so now yeah, I was the slowest guy, or one of the slowest anyway. I mean, I was training every day and doing my running stuff, but I was getting better. But now I had somebody else who was slower than me, which was a great feeling.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
And when you're doing it, I don't know how everybody else if anybody's been in basic training, but the way they did it was the slowest guy The slowest guys go in the front.
That's not how it worked in my basic training.
Okay.
No, you pretty much had to run like a gazelle or you were out.
Hmm.
But being in the back was worse because you had that spaghetti or not spaghetti, slinky effect going.
Yes.
Where it didn't matter who was up front, they'd set the pace, and guys would like take one step, and then it would shorten the line, then start, lengthen the line. That's annoying, especially if you have a rucksack on.
Yeah, yeah. So I think a big part of the point of this was you got guys from all over the world, and you're trying to teach them to work together as a team and support each other.
Yeah.
And they're all coming there for different reasons. Some of them are for good reasons. Some of them are assholes. Some of them are serious about being there. Some of them are not. And this was, I think, really a big part of it was, getting us to support each other. And
no, I prefer the way that they do it.
Yeah.
I mean, it should be. It's about being cohesive.
Mm-hmm,
and you're only as fast as your slowest person.
Mm-hmm,
is the way I look at it.
Exactly. And, never leave a buddy behind. And if you got somebody who's having a problem, you figure out what the problem is and you get them to safety or whatever that needs to be. I mean, that whole sort of thing.
No, and I think it's a little more immediate where you are. When I was in boot camp, it was the Cold War, and it was more like, we're going to run you fast until you die.
Right.
Philosophy. Yours is an immediate threat. I mean, everyone that graduates your boot camp is, 95% are going to see action, in some way or shape, or they're going to be helping the Ukrainian war effort. You have some attrition, of course, by injury, like yourself. And I'm sure they find some people that just aren't fit, but that's what that process is for, is weeding out those people.
Yeah, yeah. No, Mr. Swiggle has a point here. No one listens to the soldiers. Remember what happened to Marcus? Marcus Brigade. And I mean, these are,
of course,
these are real things, and I think, Mr. Nobody, I don't know what we can do. That's one thing a lot of people will say. Well, I don't know what we can do about this. So let's just not talk about it. And to be honest, that's how a lot of soldiers in the army deal with it, is just to say, well, it sucks, and I guess we're all going to die, because our command sucks, and there's nothing we can do about it.
Pretty fatalist.
But that only goes so far, and when you've had 81 guys in front of you go out to just die, and you're number 82 or 83, and you're like, no.
Dude, that's an absolute failure and absence of leadership. I mean, that's being overwhelmed and underled. Honestly, it's just, that's what a tragedy that is. That should never happen, especially if you have any training in Western tactics. That's old Stalin-esque type stuff, where you just send everybody and get, I'm trying to remember the name of the general for the Soviet Union back then. May have been Zhukov.
Zhukov from World War II?
Yeah, Zhukov. That's exactly who it was. Said, they're going to basically jam the German machine guns with Russian blood. That's their kind of philosophy.
Right.
And we're, unfortunately, we see some of that in the Ukrainian army as well, because you have those old school holdouts that's all they really know. I mean, it's just a different mindset, and that mindset's creeping in slowly, but it is creeping in, I think. Yeah, good mindset. The more, the more Western style leader who cares about his men, who leads by example, who leads from the front, that kind of stuff.
I definitely feel like it. And so let me tell you, so I again, to say I was in the Legion, just for a couple of months, and just in the barracks, I saw some incredibly unprofessional things, and from command, and I was told, wow, this is so much better than it was before, like a year ago.
Really?
Yeah. I saw two commanders, the two heads of the battalion, one American and one German. very nearly get in front of a fist fight in front of the entire barracks.
Wow, yeah, that's completely unprofessional and unnecessary.
Craziness. It was my first week, and I was like, "What the hell did I just walk into? What is this? Holy crap!" And then eventually, the one guy had the other. There was a little bit of a rank difference between them, and then one guy had the other guy basically driven out. Got him assigned. Literally, he was I guess his rank was major. Got him assigned the duty of cleaning toilets 3 times a day
lovely.
in the command offices, and then eventually he just left.
Yeah.
Just like what is this anyway? So the point that now that's the dark cloud, but I'm showing this picture here to give you the silver lining. So this friend of mine, he's in our Discord. He doesn't pop in very often, but he does occasionally. He's listed on our Discord as Colonel Sanders or something like that. I can't remember. It's kind of a joke name. But the point is that he's now gone through training, and he's gotten drone certified, and he's now been promoted to sergeant. So he went through sergeant command training and drone training. And I don't know if this is a staged photograph or something, but it's basically these are bunch of 3 different Legion guys working on, planning, doing the things that NCOs should do.
And the NCO Corps is pretty new, from what I understand, to the Ukrainian army.
Very, very starting in 2014, I think, but really in a serious way just since in the past year.
Wow.
Cheryl, I agree with you. I felt so bad for Marcus, an amazing and inspiring soldier, and I've told this story before. I was at the Marcus Brigade the day it opened in Kyiv. It was May of 2022 when it was announced, and one of my friends who was already in the Legion, in the ZSU, messaged me and said, "Hey, I know you want to join. There's a new brigade opening up." It sent me the link on Facebook, and I literally got on the marshrutka and was there, the next morning, for this new brigade opening up. I didn't know Marcus from Adam, to be honest with you. I was just trying to get in. And when I showed up, there was already over 100 people standing outside the front door. Most of them were in fatigues. Most of them were Ukrainian soldiers who were already in a unit who were desperately trying to get transferred out. And it's very common. In fact, I heard it just yesterday. It's very common for, if you feel like you've got a bad commander or whatever, and you want to try and get transferred out, you might be able to do it, but you'll probably have to pay that commander. Usually about 20,000 hryvnias, which that's like $500.
Still, man, that's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. Yeah. But that's the problem, is that a lot of these commanders who are raised up in the old Soviet system, the way that you advanced was not through training. It was by paying your commander for a promotion.
Yeah. Pay up, you move up.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's why seeing my friend, I just remember literally the first week running around the yard with, the yard with him, since he was in front of me, and I'm like pushing him, going, "Come on, man, you can do it. I know you got it. You got it. You got it." He's like falling down. I'm like, "Come on, let's get up. We can do this. Come on."
That's awesome.
Yeah. And now I'm totally jealous, actually, to be honest. And now he's I guess like a squad commander,
It's fantastic.
Viper says old rugby training works good. And I agree with you. As some of you guys know, my hobby, and Shere Khan knows, my hobby is full contact medieval sword combat. But So I'm used to running around in full suit of armor and getting whacked and hit in the head and feeling like I'm going to die. But
What does that sound like?
what
When
is
you
it?
get hit in the head, when you have that helmet on, what does that sound like?
It depends on how good your padding is. I mean, if you had bad padding, it'll ring like a bell,
Okay.
and also sometimes depending on how your helmet is configured, it sounds like a whack,
Okay.
on my helmet, because my helmet is riveted. It's all riveted together. So it doesn't really have that ding sound, but some of the, helmets that are one solid piece of metal that are forge welded essentially, um, are they are basically just bells on your head.
Oh my God. That's lovely.
I have worn those kind too, and you're like, okay, I need to put some padding in here just to deaden the sound because it's so loud. Speaking of hearing an echo, you guys, yeah. But in my case, like 2 years of COVID, sitting around the house and not doing my hobby of fighting and stuff. And then they gave me the call. They're like, hey, you want to join the International Legion? Come on, be here on Monday. And I was like, oh shit, I am not ready. Oh my God, I have
Probably
not.
took you by surprise.
It totally took me by surprise. And because when the war started, I was like working out, doing all the stuff. I'm gonna join, And then I applied like 10 freaking times, and nobody would take me because I didn't have any experience, and there was no training program, and I don't speak enough Ukrainian, or I didn't speak enough Ukrainian. And so I just gave up, and then so for almost like 6 months, more than 8 months maybe, I was just like, ah, fuck it. I was so depressed and not working out, not exercising, and then so I was physically not prepared, and that's actually why I got the injuries that I did.
Yeah, understood.
I was just pushing my body too hard, trying to be like I was 10 years younger.
I can completely relate. These trips are very hard on my body, but got to do it. It's just I don't recover like I used to. It takes a little while to, there's a good week when I get back where people aren't even allowed to speak to me. I think, it's just, getting out of that mental headspace that goes along with the air raid sirens and the stress.
Yeah.
And hearing about people getting blown to hell and, or worse, where I am, I see a lot of families come in that have been, that are homeless now. So a lot of refugee families come through.
Yeah.
Temporarily on their way to wherever. It's just sucks, man. It sucks to watch all the little kids suffer, especially.
Yeah.
And a lot of women went out without their husbands, because the army has gobbled them up.
Yeah. Yeah. Really, it's just that's like I said, my wife came to me yesterday, literally in tears over this, and this guy, her her friend's husband, he had some sort of a medical condition and originally wasn't even supposed to be on anywhere near the front line, and they told him that, and then he was doing other stuff for a while, and then after a while they said, you know what, no, we got to send you,
Yeah.
And they sent him to the front. I think he was just digging at first, and then he got put in an assault brigade. And even my friend here, Colonel Sanders,
Sanders.
I can't. Yeah, he has some sort of silly name in our Discord. But he, I mean, before, I'm not sure at what point in the last week or two, he messaged me and he was like, oh my God, they're sending, I think we're going to go on a suicide mission. I think just in case I die, if I don't come back, please, he's like freaking out, and sent me this big long message. I actually put it into our Discord. I was like, hey, you guys, I can't say who it is or what they're doing or where, but, if you have, pray to a God, a good God.
Yeah, pray for him for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And he and he came back and all's good, and now he's I guess commanding a unit or training to command, and it gives me hope that things things can change. Things are changing. Yes, there are, these problems that are discussed
Well, yeah.
here.
They say war has a very steep learning curve.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, it's like the people who survive learn.
Mm-hmm.
You can't help but learn.
Mm-hmm.
So there's more people surviving. There's more veterans. They get to pass that knowledge on. Makes for
Yeah.
a better and more coherent force.
Mm-hmm. 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 So, it's a very interesting little discussion going on in our. It's good. I like that you guys are having this discussion about how are we going to solve this problem. I mean, I don't think it's wrong for us uh, to think about it, because who knows? Good ideas can come from anywhere.
That's
And
exactly correct.
and uh, yeah. If let's see, I'm trying to go back through, and because I kind of lost track of the discussion. Um, but yeah, and Viper, you know what, man, I'm getting to the point where if I don't, I can't sit out this war. You know what I mean? Like, I can't. I don't care whatever it is that I need to do to get in. I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to do it. And
It's why I do
but
what I do, man. It's just it's a compulsion almost. It's or yeah, compulsion. I wouldn't say an obsession, but more like a compulsion. You just have to help. You just find a way to help.
yeah, yeah.
And you're doing an
Share,
incredible job. Go ahead.
Cheryl asked, "Do you know what Marcus is doing now?" Now he has a charitable foundation, um, and I think he's probably running that charitable foundation, and I'm sure he's continuing to help with the war. I don't know the exact. Yeah, and Viper talking about Swoosh. That's pretty interesting. So Swoosh is the person I know by another name. So and he explained he has medical clearance and good shit. They had to go through 11 specialist clearance. Yeah. Okay. So that's interesting. So he had to go through a lot more. So yeah. So that's good to know. So things are definitely, improving, and
Outstanding.
and I actually know the people now who are in charge of training in the International Legion.
Is that right?
Yeah, they're actually the people who I trained with a year ago again, and now they are just like my friend here. Now they are in command positions. So at least at the lower ranks, there's advancement. These things are happening, and it's it gives me a ray of hope.
Yeah, right on. It's that
And
steep learning curve. I'm telling you.
yeah, yeah.
People
And
who survive.
I reported on this like a couple of weeks ago, but and nobody else seemed to report on it. But there was a Telegraph article that 2/3 of the general staff, so the generals, were going to basically be put on the front line as frontline commanders, because so the whole structure.
I remember that story.
Yeah, yeah. And then I came across, and I don't have it right in front of me, but I came across another article coming actually out of General Siersky's office, saying essentially the same thing in slightly different words, that they were, using euphemism, but it sort of confirmed it for me. And yes, Viper, OPSEC, please, thank you. But Mr. Squiggle, let's see. These problems are experienced by many armies in history with the same problems. We have said it before. Retrain those officers, yes, and remove them from command positions or put them on. Yeah, cycle them through. And in World War II, the United States military cycled through generals, like they were going out of style. But
yes, sir. Even
but
recently in the
yeah,
Afghanistan and Iraq wars, it was the same thing. I mean,
yeah.
they ditched Mad Max Maddox or Mad Dog Maddox or whatever his name was. I remember
Mm-hmm.
the big famous one.
Mm-hmm.
And even Petraeus got poop canned at
Yeah.
one point in time.
Right.
It's just
Right.
it's very natural. You just basically it boils down to you do whatever you need to do to win.
Yeah.
If you don't have the right leaders or in place, then get rid of them.
Yeah.
Do you have a follow up on that? By the way, I found that story very interesting about the general staff going to the front. Is there a follow up on any of those guys? Did they
Yeah.
actually?
No, and that's why I was saying the only follow up that I've seen, and I've asked around, I've even like emailed the Telegraph and been like, I met like there's Ukraine the latest, and I messaged them and like, hey, no response, no response. So it's
Interesting.
like, and the only thing that I saw was coming out of General Siersky's office. This was like maybe last week, saying that they were going to be. What was it? Optimizing the general staff. Was the way that they were saying it, something of that nature, and optimizing the general staff for efficiency and effectiveness. And
As long as they're not standing next to windows or something. They didn't mention window cleaning or something.
right,
Like
no,
that.
and there was indications that something to the effect of staff that are not needed in office positions will be put onto command positions,
Oh man.
yeah,
But see, there should be a caveat there, in my humble opinion.
yeah.
It should end with upon qualification.
Right, right. That's the other thing, right? After they've been through some, at least a refresher training, and that
Because
is
the
the
infantry is complex, right? I mean,
right,
infantry is basically the conglomerate of all other forces in any army. Boils down to what are they doing to support the infantry?
yeah,
So that is the most complex part, in my opinion.
right.
So you need the people who can think, with complexity. If you have
Um,
somebody that's all they've done is count beans and bullets, then they may not be an infantry officer.
exactly. It's just as bad as sending a brand new green recruit out to the proverbial meat grinder,
Truly,
you know.
truly.
And that's the other thing in terms of how maybe Ukraine's military is improving is that not the main military yet, but individual units are hiring people for specific jobs, whereas heretofore it's been no, you're going to join, you're going to be infantry, and then if you live, then you might get to do something else.
That's ridiculous.
Right? And like if you're a freaking computer programmer, maybe maybe you'd be better off doing drone related stuff
Absolutely
or
correct.
or signals
Electronic warfare.
intelligence. Yeah, exactly, something like that. Um, and which is probably what I'll end up doing, to be honest. Because at this point, if I can't carry around an 80-pound ruck, what good am I?
Well, you're maybe not good to the infantry, but dude,
Right?
you've got skills. I mean,
Yeah,
you've got a brain.
yeah,
So I don't see why you could not be of service to the army,
right.
or at least some, if not the army, some paramilitary organization out there that could use your skills.
Yeah. Demetrius said a paper pushing fat officer commanding a frontline unit. That will be sucky for the grunts. Yeah, well, that's
Yeah.
fair. I mean, but this is one thing that is arguably really, really, really lacking is higher level officer training. So Ukraine has arguably implemented NCO level training pretty well. And but at the higher echelons, it seems to not be there, and it's it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks.
Truly.
Basically,
Yeah.
Mr. Squiggle says Zelensky does not see this stuff until he does. Then he can implement change. This was Zelensky and Zelensky. Zelensky does not see this stuff until he does. Then he can implement change. This was Zelensky's job that he didn't do. What the fuck was he doing? Dead bodies not success, but can't always be avoided. Yeah. So I think that the impression that I get just from reading general articles, and there was a recent book that came out about the first year of the war. Zelensky really thought that this war was going to be over like in a year, like that you can see how he was not a military guy, just
Truly.
kind of like hoping, hey, generals, I hope you're doing a good job, and I think that Zelensky and the civilian politicians have had a real education. I think all Ukrainians have.
But if Zelensky's like most leaders, he's probably got a very tight wall around him. The information going in and information going out is all through certain channels and certain channels only. So you could have the best of ideas and send it up the chain of command. But if you have someone near the president that just doesn't like your idea or doesn't like you or whatever, then unfortunately that's where it dies. An open door policy would be great. If Zelensky had an open, I don't know if a president could have an open door policy, but
well, no, I mean, to be honest with you, he met with the Marcus, guy that everyone is talking about in our chat, the 47th Assault Brigade, before he was basically driven out. And my personal theory is that was kind of like a piece that led to eventually to the changes that Zelensky has made to the command structure. I will say that I mean, I think Zelensky kind of has at least a semi-open door policy, and he has made a really big point even before the war of going out to the front lines and meeting directly with the soldiers. To the extent that that's a controlled meeting and they only say what they, that kind of thing.
I don't know. I was a grunt, and I know that I got the opportunity to speak to like the General of the Army, Carl Vono, Secretary of the Army. I got to speak to SecDef, Bill Cheney, when he was still, not the vice president, but he was Secretary of Defense. And I'll tell you what, I got in trouble every single time for speaking my mind.
Yeah.
It's not a good situation.
Yeah.
But whether they took my little bitch session to heart or not, then, that's up to them.
Yeah.
I think I just have a hard time keeping my mouth shut is the problem.
Well, I don't know if I coined this phrase or not, but my personal experience is that if infantry is not complaining, there's something wrong.
There's something wrong. That's exactly correct. That's right. Yeah.
That's just based on my personal experience.
And don't ask me my opinion if you don't want it.
Right.
If you really don't want it. So there you go.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, so it's just a topic that, but this new like $50 billion now that is coming to Ukraine, I think is going to push a lot of these changes, because now I am making supposition, but I think there's some of the resistance to change was, well, you're not giving us enough anyway. So why the hell should we, America or NATO, why should we listen to you? You're not even giving us enough to fight with. Why should we accept your strategies and your training and all of this stuff? I'm talking about at the command level,
No, I get it.
If you're giving us 5 Abrams, what the hell?
Yeah, I mean, how
are we going to do it?
How
are we going to implement
how to fight this war?
Wonderful
Ukrainians, right? Sorry, I think I stepped over you there.
Oh no, go ahead.
I was like, I was just saying that I don't think anyone knows how to fight this war better than Ukrainians.
Right.
I get a constant influx from some of my ex-special operations guys. They were like, oh, when you're over there, tell them they should do this. They should do this. I'm like, no, I'm not telling them a damn thing, dude. They're doing it the way it needs to be done.
Yeah.
And you're a Monday morning quarterback or whatever they call armchair quarterback. That's annoying.
Yeah, that was a big complaint when I was in training, that the NATO standard, let's say, movement training that we were getting, some of it, like get online, we were required to be taught that, but the trainers themselves told us, we're going to teach you this getting online and moving in a wedge formation and these sort of things, but you're not going to use that.
No, never.
You're not going to use that, because get online means get on mine.
It's like I said the other day in the chat. If you give the Ukrainians bubblegum wrappers and popsicle sticks, they're going to find a way to kill people with it. The Western approach, in my opinion, should be learn, look, listen, shut your mouth, and then offer input when you can, and certainly supply them with arms. But I don't know. It's just maybe the units I've worked with are a little different. I've been, privy to the SF units over there and things like that, and I think they get a little more free reign to do what they do,
Naturally.
and I just, I just wish it would trickle down to the general army. But someone in the comments said, look, that you can't do any of this change overnight.
Right.
Just the fact, like you said, that you had seen a change in 1 year, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
That means, like I said, that's
arguably maybe the fastest changing military there's ever freaking been.
Probably. I mean, the adaptation is fantastic. It's on a pretty intense level.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, Mr. Nobody said, have we concluded that it's up to the military to fix the military? I mean, I think that fix is going to come from ground up in the military. And those generals who have their old Soviet ways of doing things, they're going to have to be replaced by the people who have been on the front lines for real and didn't just come out of retirement or whatever,
Yep.
And, but who knows? I will say that this situation with Ukraine getting these billions of buckaroos, that is kind of pushing at least some reform. Because 90% of that money, I heard just today, 90% of that 50 billion is going to be spent on the military. So it's not going to be like reconstruction funds, 10% reconstruction.
That's excellent. It's about time.
Yeah.
It's absolutely about time.
Exactly. But it looks like, and I in this article, I'm not. That is, just look at that.
That's incredible. It's an incredible graph.
It just says so much. So this article is about, that money, because it's, the one thing I will say is that there is, people talk about corruption in the Ukrainian military, and I've discussed some of it. It's my understanding that stuff that's coming from the United States, stuff that's coming from NATO, stuff that's coming from governments is tightly controlled. Stuff that is coming from NGOs or charities, that's where sometimes commanders will, basically sell it to the local tax shop, and bad shit. So this may change that. I mean, it may be that up until now, I've heard as much as 30% of supplies coming to the Ukrainian military, as much as 30%. Some say 50%, but I think 30% is more accurate. Is coming from charities and NGOs.
That's what I heard as well. It's about 30%.
Right. And it's all ad hoc, and it's not very well organized, as we know, as you guys know me. I'm not the. I mean,
well, there's a lot of red tape in NGOs too. I mean, people like you and me, we can cut right to the chase. We can talk to people on the battlefield, or like in your you had a live stream a few weeks ago. I was asking about what you had a medic on. I can't remember her name. I apologize, but she was a frontline medic.
Oh yeah, Emily.
Emily, that's right. And Emily, I was asking Emily what, I take supplies over. What exactly is it that you need? And she'd say, oh, I need this, that, and the other. And I can actually go out, source this, that, and the other, and bring it over and get it right to the battlefield. That takes literally weeks to do instead of months or years in some, or not at all. There's some equipment that I'm sure is not getting to the battlefield at all.
Right.
That's needed. But
right.
It just takes people like you and me and the people in the stream here, doing what they can. Don't focus on what you can't do. Focus on what you can do and make it happen.
Exactly. Just try to take one step in the right direction every day. That's all we can do.
Amen.
But so this situation with the loan is very interesting, because a loan, there's a lot more strings attached when you have a loan. They're not just handing out $300 billion. There's going to be a lot more NATO control, arguably, or EU control, something like that, over how Ukraine uses this, and I mean that may be good and that may be bad.
I'll be honest with you. I hope they don't maintain a lot of control of NATO. I hope the money does go to Ukraine because, I think there's a tension building inside of Ukraine, within the population. You and I have both experienced this as of recently. There's a tension between the West and Ukraine, and I think it sucks to be in Ukraine as a Ukrainian and say, okay, my future really depends on politics in the United States, politics in the United Kingdom, politics in all these different countries of Europe, except for, it's almost like your destiny is out of your hands. And the frustration's growing. The people that were angry at me on the street, that's a sign of frustration. A year before that, if they'd heard me speaking English or whatever it was, there would have been like, oh my God, an American, thank God you're here.
Right. So this is a good time. Let's talk about that because you were telling your story in the chat, and I'm really curious about what happened, in Lutsk and how it all went down, as much as you're comfortable.
The sun came up that day. I'm just kidding. I won't go into detail.
First, I was born. Okay.
First, I was born.
So just to give you guys a sense of where we're talking about, now the reason this discussion came up that we're going to have today is I had an interesting issue last weekend remember I went to Ithilien. Yes, that's the code word we're calling for it. It's the area previously occupied by Mordor. And in the secret town of Henathanun, and I went to this visited this drone laboratory, and like they were full on like when I was done with the tour of the lab, they were like, yeah, we need you. We're going to hire you.
That's fantastic, man.
Right. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I like this idea. You guys are awesome. They were awesome, and there was one guy who spoke really good English, and everybody else kind of just enough, and we could get by. I speak just enough, Ukrainian, and we still are going to support them, but I just don't know what the situation is if they're going to bring me on because one of the locals, like neighbors or something, heard me speaking English and told them, I wasn't there for this part, but told them that he was going to call the Russians and tell them they had an American.
Yeah, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah, and I mean, they were like, "Holy shit, this is totally unexpected." Like, but all it takes is one, Putin supporter in 100 or even 1,000,
That's right.
To do that basically, and every Ukrainian I've told this story to was like shocked and disgusted about it as well. But it
happens.
Yeah. So tell me what happened on your.
Well, trip. I was going to Lutsk to begin with.
Yeah. So Lutsk is in the western part of Ukraine. It's right here in the far west, almost to like Lviv.
Yeah, very close. I think it's northeast of Lviv.
Yep,
something like that.
Northeast of Lviv. Yeah, and
I've towards Belarus and Rivne. Yep. Yeah, there you go. You got the map up. Okay.
Yep.
But anyway, the whole purpose of being up there was we had these enormous collection of Trypillian culture of pots and artifacts from the Trypillian age, so like 5,000 years old. And we were setting up, I jumped on this group and helped them set up this museum.
Wow. That's cool. This is in Lutsk? Because I've been to like 2 different archaeological museums in Lutsk.
This is brand new, dude. We just did this in March. So, but yeah, I can't remember the name of the museum, but it's one of these places where you actually go down into the ground. It's a nice stone spiral staircase.
Was this near the castle? Was this around the castle?
It was within walking distance of the castle. In fact, that's where this happened.
Okay.
It was on the way back to the castle.
That is so crazy.
it got to the point where, I was kind of not overextending my stay, but wasn't enough for some of us to do. So some of us took off to do other stuff, and me and this other guy decided we're going to go to the castle. So we go to the castle, and he speaks very good English. There it is, right there.
Yeah.
And
it's amazing. It's the best, in my personal opinion. It's the best castle in Ukraine, and there's hundreds.
Is that right?
Maybe thousands. Now, my category, my criteria for castles is all about how ancient they are. Even though this one's obviously it's a reconstruction, but the authenticity of the reconstruction. Because I'm interested in early castles, so they actually have parts of the original wall, but even the reconstruction that was done to like around 1400s, it's a well done reconstruction.
I love that the reconstructions are done. Oh yeah, about 1,000 years ago.
Yeah,
But that was the reconstruction.
Right.
Fantastic. But anyway, so we were done doing the castle, and we're heading back the exact same way, and all of a sudden I hear this screaming, and very passionate screaming. So I turn around and I see this woman, and she's having obviously some type of outburst, and and first I thought it was kind of I kind of laughed a little bit and probably smiled, unfortunately.
Oh boy.
Yeah, well, I didn't know it was directed at me, and I was like, oh my God, there's a crazy lady. This reminds me of my career as a psychologist. So it's not like I can't handle things like that, but she's looking directly at me, and the guy with me says, man, just keep walking, just keep walking. I'm like, what? He's like, well, she's yelling at you. I'm like, what the fuck?
What?
So I'm like, my hands go up like this, and I look at her, I'm like, what's your problem? And she's just going on and on, and people are starting to gather around, and I'm looking at these people, and these people are not looking very happy, and they're all looking at me. So we kind of made a hasty getaway.
Wow.
And went back to the museum. But I was pretty shook up, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It's I've been in mobs before, riots and things like that when I was in the military, but I'm always armed, and there's a certain sense of safety you have, even though they could just run right over you. But yeah, it was pretty scary. And the same thing we told the guys that we were with, the group they were with, and they immediately wanted to go report her, find out who this lady was and report her. And they were very upset.
These were the Ukrainians
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But the Ukrainians in this crowd, I'll be honest with you, did not look very happy, and they did not look very happy directed at me.
It's interesting.
Which kind of sucked. And I'm very thankful that I had my friend with me, and we were able to get out of there safely. I felt bad for him. But yeah, that's the first time that ever happened to me in Ukraine. And I've been there. I think this will be 15 times. I think is this.
And you've been to Lutsk before?
No, that was my first time up there, and I thought it would be somewhat friendly because, like you said, it's more in Western Ukraine.
Oh yeah, it was super friendly for me. They were like, "Oh, Amerikanets," dobre.
I guess I just picked someone that was off their meds that day or whatever. But
Well, now when was this?
This was in March, so it was during that time when we weren't giving them weapons.
Interesting. So they're very recently then.
Yeah, very recently.
It does make me wonder that there's, first of all, obviously you've got a lot of trauma here in Ukraine. People are nerves are raw, basically, and so you can kind of imagine.
Well, she was specifically talking about NATO and the United States starting this conflict.
Really. So you understood some of what she was saying.
Some of it, and the rest of it he translated to me later. But she was specifically talking about NATO, the United States, the United Kingdom starting this conflict and then leaving Ukraine to fight it. So
wow. So all right. So I can almost guarantee that this person was not a resident of Lutsk. Probably.
Really? Well, she was a shop owner. I mean, she had a little shop.
Interesting.
From behind the.
Really? Because I've heard, that sort of thing has been reported to me as a common, this is why last stream I was talking about the kind of propaganda and just constant effluvium of Russian, propaganda and commentary and abuse that Ukrainians have to endure. But that sort of an opinion would be much more common in the east of Ukraine, where
Yeah,
people
absolutely. Yeah, and I had to be a lot more careful when I was out east. Of course, I had to be much more of the gray man. But dude,
yeah,
I still, I still get kind of shaky when I think about this
yeah,
situation.
yeah. Well, thank you for talking about it.
Well,
Because
it just more than anything, it kind of pissed me off.
yeah, yeah,
Because the bottom line is, okay, so let's look at the actual facts, lady. Here I am in your country, and
right.
you're yelling at me.
To help you.
But what am I doing in your country? I'm not promoting war. I'm actually helping. But she
Right.
didn't know any of that. But the good news is that castle was spectacular. We had a
Yes.
really good time. It was. I got to see the little museum they have underground.
Oh yeah,
with the
so awesome.
trebuchet
And then also they have a science museum of museum of scientific inventions.
Yeah,
With like trebuchets
the
and
trebuchet, the working trebuchet, and the diving
yeah.
bell and things like that. Oh,
They actually have a chokunu, which is a Chinese repeating crossbow.
yes.
And it shoots.
I didn't even know that existed.
Yeah, it's a Chinese repeating crossbow, and it shoots pencils. It's like a miniature little one. So, it's amazing.
Very cool. I recommend everyone go there when they're in Ukraine, please.
Yeah, it is really, and Ukrainians don't really appreciate it because most Ukrainian castles don't really look like castles; they look like mansions. A lot of them were rebuilt in the 17th, 18th, or 19th centuries, and so they literally became mansions, and they're not really castle-esque.
I think Cheryl Watley actually said it best in your comments there when she's talking about the situation. I don't know if you read that or not.
Yeah, I can only imagine how that 7 months without aid has led to resentment, opening a path to propaganda. Yeah, not in the case at hand. Sounds like she watches Russian state media. Yeah. Now, I was told, so when I was in Zakarpattia, which to give our viewers a sense of where that is. Zakarpattia is right down here. You can see where I have all these green marks. So I lived there for the best part of a year when I wasn't in the Legion. And I was in this little town right here, which I couldn't show you before exactly where I was, but now I can. So I was here and living, and this is heavily, more than 50% Hungarian. So a lot of the people have dual passports. The actual city government of Berehova is funded by 50% of their funds comes from Hungary.
Which oblast is this?
Zakarpattia, Transcarpathia.
Okay.
Transcarpathia. Yeah.
But you're on the north side of the Carpathians there. No, you're on the south side.
South side. South side.
So down by Mukachevo and places like that.
Yep, south of Mukachevo. South of Mukachevo right here. Exactly like that. So, yeah, I went to Mukachevo and Uzhgorod, these places many, many times. So this is a city. It's about 15,000 people, thereabouts. So the very first hotel that we stayed in, which was not great, but it wasn't bad. This hotel right here. Oh, yeah, there it is. The old lady who was behind the desk, I don't know why you would say this on why you would say this to a guest or whatever, but I couldn't understand what she was saying. But she told my wife that, the CIA started Maidan. This little old lady, she looked for all the world, she could have been my grandmother, looked just like my grandmother.
But that's what she wanted to get across to you.
Right. And I'm like, but that I realized I didn't know about it until I lived there a while. That's when I started to learn about what the hell was going on in Hungary and how, Hungary is, I kind of knew a little bit about the relationship between Hungary and Russia and Orban and all of that, but I didn't know at what level how intense it was, for the people. But that's kind of to be expected for these areas, Now Uzhgorod and Mukachevo, they're much more, Ukrainian. The people in Uzhgorod are much more likely to have Czechoslovakian heritage.
Well, I was in Makacheva. My first trip over, I landed in Makacheva, or ended up there, and they were very, very cool to Americans.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
that was a nice little city. A lot of gypsies. But,
yeah, tons and tons of gypsies, Romani, or there's I can't remember the Ukrainian word for them, but
yeah,
this particular city where I lived in, there was a whole gypsy part of town, and it's actually right here. You can see how it looks different, and the houses here are in serious disrepair. They have no windows. There you go. This is like the gypsy sector of town. You can see there's a big wall around it. This wall doesn't look that old. It's not like it's dating to the 18th century or something, you know. But I will say that the gypsies were pretty annoying. Some of them, but not all. You know, aggressive panhandling doesn't really even cover it, to be honest. But then again, you can kind of see why they're not. There is racism, there is exclusion, and that's true for the gypsies in all of Eastern Europe, unfortunately.
Well, I'm really sorry it happened, and I'm hoping this next trip will be even, better. It's not the worst thing that's happened to me in Ukraine,
right?
God, but it was really because I've been physically hurt while I was over there. But it's the most troubling thing I think I've ever run into, because I have a tendency to act American. Like an American,
I stick out like a sore thumb. Sometimes people think I'm German,
really,
because I am of part German heritage, and I wear a fedora all the time.
Okay,
so a lot of people think it's But other than that, I mean, they don't think I'm Ukrainian. That's for sure.
That's funny.
Also, most people come up to about here on me.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
You're of the Viking stock, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm Yanisky Nazarist. I'm very short, so I don't.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
everyone's like this when I go.
I can't be the gray man. That's for sure.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you. But anyway, so how about what's next, man? The raffle?
Oh shit balls! Yeah, thank you for reminding me. Let's do the raffle, guys. Let's do it, because we are at an hour and a half, and so now let's talk about what this raffle is for. Okay, this is I like the idea that like Greg Terry is doing, where they do a free flag Fridays. I think that's awesome. Real Dave Seaman came up with this idea, and so I don't take the credit for it. But yeah, basically what I did was I asked people on our Discord server to just go in and introduce yourself. That's all. We set up a channel for that, and we might continue to. So as new people come in, K Bella, he had long working hours. He messaged me, or he messaged in our chat. He said he couldn't make it, which is very sad. But yes, you're right, Leathercat, and I apologize for that. Roma, traveler, people, gypsy is a racist slur on par with the N-word. Yeah, and
Romani, yeah,
Romani, correct, and there's actually a bunch of different clans. They're not all called Romani as well. Yeah, so my apologies, to be sure. I would actually prefer to learn the Ukrainian word and just skip over all of that issue altogether. Of course, I'll probably find out the Ukrainian word is the worst possible thing you could use.
It would not surprise me.
Yeah. So in any case, so guys, really, it's great to introduce yourselves and just talk about why you're here. Maybe talk about a little bit about like what you can do, what you'd like to do, how you'd like to help Ukraine. Those are all good things. So I think we'll continue to do this every so often once we have when we regularly get a bunch of new people. I would also like to say that those of you who went on the introduce yourself channel in our Discord and introduced yourselves, I used your introductions in my English classes. So I literally copied and pasted your introductions, and use them with my Ukrainian students. So they got to read.
Cool.
Yeah, they got to read your, talking about like why you support Ukraine and all. And they were like, "Wow, this is so amazing." But it wasn't just for that I did this. It was because Ukrainians have a real hard time introducing themselves to strangers and kind of breaking the ice. It's not talking about themselves with strangers is like, no, talking about your family or where you come from. It's like it's one of the biggest taboos.
Interesting.
Because of the whole history of like KGB. And
yeah, just to be the gray man. Just don't talk about anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Sinhasky, it looks like, is the word for gypsy according to Dimitri.
Yes, thank you, Dimitri. That is the word I have heard and was trying to think of and couldn't remember.
Sinhasky.
Leathercat, you couldn't get on the Discord. Okay, well, thank you for coming to the live stream at the very least. And I don't have a Discord link created, but maybe before the end of our stream here, I will try to create one. But definitely, if you show up to our next live stream, Leathercat, I will make sure we have a Discord invite link. Okay, so with all with all that, let's this is the prize. So it's a really cool Ukrainian Trident patch that is typically worn by the Ukrainian military. And I wore one myself. So this is Ukrainian made, and it's not like stolen valor or anything to wear it at all. It's like wearing yellow or blue tape, but it shows your support for Ukraine. So Herb says Paul is on this. You have a 1 in how many 27 chance. Paul is on this list, I believe. Yes, Paul Gilbert. All right, Paul. I
always think Paul Gilbert from like the guitar player.
Oh yeah. No, he is. It's his name, Paul Gilbert. Maybe it's the same guy. No, I don't think so.
Oh, I wish.
Yeah. So here we go. Boom.
I'm gonna win this time. I know I'm gonna win. I'm not even close, am I?
Well, that's cool. Holy oblation. Right. I believe she's demonic oblation in our live stream today. Okay. So I'm sorry, Paul, you didn't win again. I'm sorry to disappoint everybody who was rooting for Paul. But what's interesting about this is Ken, who's UTV and Ham. Ken, Holy Oblation. I think you know Holy Oblation personally, don't you?
Me?
No, Ken. UTV and Ham. His real name's Ken. So Ken bought a couple of patches, or a patch, if I'm not mistaken, and a T-shirt. Anyway, the point is now they're going to have matching Ukrainian regalia.
Oh, that's cool.
Oblation, because they live in the same household. So yeah, pretty awesome that and Ken got a T-shirt. He bought a T-shirt, and then because he was the first person to actually buy a T-shirt on my site, he got it signed by the drone team out there.
That's cool. That's very cool.
Yeah, very cool. He posted a picture of it on our Discord, and I showed it in our live stream a few weeks ago. So, and Holy Oblation. Yeah, I hope when you get this patch. So it's gonna be sent to me, coming from the manufacturer, and then I will send it off to you. And to you, Holy Oblation, and yes, but so you need to, if you have the same address as Ken, then oh, you live with Silver Earth. Oh my God, I'm an ass. That's what I am. I'm an ass. Sorry, Silver Earth. Gotcha. All right. Well, but Holy Oblation, have you thought about marrying Ken though? I think Silver Earth might be into it though. Just ask her. Modern times, man.
Yeah, right.
I used to be poly. I'm retired now. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm sorry, guys.
Good way to look at it.
Okay, so Holy Oblation, if you send me your physical address, please. On the send it to me on the Discord if you wouldn't mind, so that I can get that to you. It's gonna probably take a couple of weeks to get to you. I think with these orders it took about 3 weeks, to be honest.
These comments.
So, yeah. Yeah, so UTV and Ham. So I guess Holy Oblation and Silver Earth will just move in with you. So that's good. That's a plus. I'm glad to see you guys have room now that you're forming a nice poly household. Anyway, enough about my stupidity. Congratulations. And I want to do this more often. Okay, so one last thing I want to talk about is the fact that I screwed up my math yesterday as to where we were on the drone raffle. So that's this right here, and it really has to do with the fact that I suck at math, and I
did you get the money I sent yesterday or not?
I did, yeah, $100. Thank you very much. Sorry, I don't know if it's okay to blurt that out, but I did. So now we're screwed. Yeah. But so this is the next raffle, and I added it up today. I did the correct math, and with your donation and several other people, we are at $466.
Okay.
And I want to verify that because I think it's important because I actually did it up on a whole spreadsheet. Where I make a mistake sometimes is when I'm prepping to do this live stream, and then I have to bring in two different Excel spreadsheets together, and then problems occur sometimes.
Better you than me. That's all I can say on that one.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, $466 is where we're at on this. And I was going to bring up the spreadsheet. Let's see if I can find it. And I cannot. Damn. Okay, but it's 466 is where we're at. So we're very, very close. And the thing is, so you guys, you can donate through Buy Me a Coffee, or you can donate through PayPal. And that is my PayPal right there at the bottom. And just put a note in there that says it's $5 per ticket. All right. So put a note that says like for the drone raffle, and then some denomination of 5, essentially. So that's that will be great. And then that drone is going to go to the International Legion. And yeah, pretty exciting.
Outstanding.
Yeah. And the other thing I would like to say is, holy crap, I just looked at the orders here on the Shopify. And people are like a ton of tourniquets and and a bunch of other stuff to support, like, the channel and everything. So I'm hoping that we will be able to do. So I just want to thank everybody who bought, and I think you bought some tourniquets as well. So this month, basically, when I'm doing like tourniquets and things like that, supplies, I do a monthly order so that I'm not just buying like one tourniquet here and one tourniquet there. And the units asked me to do that. So they said, don't send it, because they have to take the time to go to the post office, and they're like, don't send us, 5
not
tourniquets.
piecemeal.
Yeah. So anyway, so I just want to, really thank everybody who did that. So
You have a
yeah,
great
man.
audience, man. I mean, you have a great crew over here. They
Yeah.
really do support you a lot.
Yeah, they are, and super positive. Oh, by the way, oh my gosh, who did I speak to today? Brain cells are coming to me.
If you have any
I'm
left.
literally bringing it up on my other thing right now because I just had a conversation right before stream with who? Come on, load up. Don't
The Pope.
tell me my chat history is missing. Okay. Someone that we know, someone who is in. Ah, yes, Matt. There we go. That's who I spoke to today.
Okay, Matt.
Yeah.
How's he doing?
So he's doing well. He is he's still suffering seizures and
I can't believe he had a seizure on air
on our freaking live stream, dude.
When we were talking that one.
That's a crazy one, man.
And then there was no
That's
more
crazy
Matt.
town.
That was crazy.
But yeah, he's the regular seizures and back problems.
I've got a guitar comment up there from Herb. Yeah, he says he's a Dean Charvel guy, which I'm a Dean Charvel guy too, and a BC Rich and Gibson and Fender and every other brand. So yeah, right on. It makes me happy.
Yeah. Oh, and I don't know if you saw, and I need to post the video of this, but you may not have been in the live stream. So one of our viewers, the one who came Il Pirata in our live streams, he actually physically came here to Ukraine, and we drove across the country and delivered the first drone. Actually,
okay. I think I remember that.
Yeah. This was in April, and he brought a guitar with him, an acoustic guitar.
Okay.
And he said, "I want you." We had it signed by an FPV operator.
Okay, cool.
Out there on the front line. Okay. And he said, "I want you to give this to some music school in your village, in your town."
Right on.
Yeah, and so I did. So the weekend before last, I was actually sick, totally just with the flu, feverish, dying. But it was a huge ceremony in the center of town with, about 100 people. Basically,
Wow.
It was the end of the year thing for the local art, music, and dance school for children.
Okay.
And they had a new music teacher coming in for the new year, and they said, "Yeah, we want you to." I didn't know I was going to give a speech in front of the whole crowd.
Lovely.
And handing over this guitar, and I had to have my wife translate for me. I have the video, but the audio of it is terrible.
Is she pretty good, your wife, with public speaking, or is she just getting better?
She was totally terrified, to be honest.
Oh, I'm
she was
sorry.
Utterly. She didn't know that she was going to be doing this until we got there.
Oh, lovely.
And luckily, I had a little speech prepared on my phone, but I was thinking that someone else was going to read it, in Ukrainian, not her. Yeah, and they were just totally into it, and I guess it's in the local papers. And
that's so cool.
Yeah, and the school. So the children all did these amazing paintings, which I've been showing them in my shorts. I've had a bunch of shorts from that art school festival with dancing and music and everything else. And
I remember that.
Yeah. And the art teacher of the school gave me this. This is her artwork.
Sweet.
Yeah, and with a signed thing on the back. That's
nice.
Yeah, and
it's backwards Cyrillic.
It's backwards, but yeah, it's Cyrillic. It says, "Thank you for your support to Ukraine, Slava Ukraini," and then the name of the school. So I went back there because she hadn't signed it and she hadn't put like any of this. So I went back to the school when I was feeling well enough. It was actually the teacher's last day. And I said, okay, this is awesome, but I need you to sign it because this is going to be worth like $1 million someday, you know?
That's cool.
So yeah.
Well, I'm finding out you have a lot of musicians in your feed too. We have Padres guitars, Decca guitars.
I have a
cool.
1965 Decca. Wow.
See, if they could only see the rest of the room. Oh, I can't move it. But
Yeah.
I've got stacks of like amps and shit over there.
Gosh.
I've got a whole room full of guitars. I'm a nut case when it comes. That's, one of the things I really, besides just medical aid and weapons parts, the other thing I wanted to bring to Ukraine was music. I just can't figure out how to, if I could get over there and buy a bunch of guitars, I would do so. But, because that's what keeps your sanity during war, and especially after wartime. Music.
It is and has been for Ukrainian. One of the things that I have always loved and been impressed with here in Ukraine is the amount of street musicians, especially in Kyiv, but in a lot of cities. I love street musicians, and they're all over the place. And a lot of times, like I've been in Kyiv and just stopped and talked to somebody standing on the street playing a violin, and it turns out they're like a PhD music student, and they're just out there
jamming on the drums. Once in Kiev, he had like the little Def Leppard shorts on and stuff, completely naked except for these little shorts, and he literally had a cup out there that said, "I'm playing for drinking money for the army."
Wow.
It was like, so of course we're going to give him money.
Yeah.
Just jamming away. It was pretty cool, man. But everywhere you look, there's just talent.
Yeah. Exactly.
Incredible.
Exactly. It's I love it because one of the two biggest things I love here in Ukraine is the amount of public art, like sculpture and stuff that's just everywhere. You just don't see that in America. And then music, everywhere you go, especially in the metros, in the subways, there's people, they play because of the acoustics, and it sounds so great. I just love it.
True story.
Yeah.
Well, these comments are making me happy.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah. Musicians are cool people,
Oh, you've got SGs and Les Pauls and Strats coming up. I mean, I'm just in heaven. Anyhow.
Oh, that's great. Well, you know what? This is a great way to wrap it up and end it. We talked about some pretty intense things, and it's nice to have some good stuff.
Yeah, today was a good stream. Thank you for having me. More than anything, I really appreciate the opportunity to get on here. I don't have I have a linked tree thing on which is, I think I've got $20 in the entire 2 years I've had it up. But, and I don't ask for money. I don't ask for any donations. This all comes out of my pocket.
Yeah.
And I've got, like, my brother will help me sometimes. My dad will help me sometimes with, the big stuff. But it's nice to see so many people supporting, such a good cause. It's just, it warms my heart to be on here. And like I said, thank you for having me again.
Well, I'm
glad
in 2
weeks, 2 weeks from now, there's a good chance that we'll be doing this live together.
Oh, yeah, man. That'll be awesome. That'll be rocking.
I'll have to sit on a stool though, so I'm as tall as you. I have to like sit on the phone.
No, it's not that my body is tall. I have ridiculously long legs and arms.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, it's crazy. When I sit down, I look like a normal person, and I get up and I'm like, duh, 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 duh. Yeah.
I'll check my posture.
Yeah, yeah. For sure. Well, thank you everybody who came, and thanks for enduring what turned out to be my sound problems. And congratulations to Holy Oblation, and thank you to everyone who introduced themselves. Once again, I will just spam the raffle for the next drone, and please go to buymeacoffee/YUkraine. buymeacoffee.com/YUkraine, or you can donate via PayPal via the link below and just mention drone raffle. And I hope that we'll be able to buy a drone this week. So,
yes,
thanks, guys.
Very cool.
Yeah. Slava Ukraine. Do
Heroin
побачення.
slava. All
Heroin
right, we'll see
slava.
you.